YouTube is up. It's weird and glary though. Facebook is up, and I'm just a minute late. Or maybe 2, I'm not sure. All right, so the Mutskis. Time for you to leave the room, please. Go. Let's go. Out. Come on. Out. 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 Go. Hey. All right. Go play. So they're still getting all berserk this time of day. I don't know. Either it's 9:30 on Saturday morning or so. Good morning. Good morning. So I had this whole week, I had this really great practice in my head, and it's spring and it's beautiful, and I've planted flowers and vegetables, and things are coming back to life, right? It's very green here right now. And then it's raining and cloudy and out. It's still green and beautiful, but it just puts a whole different mood, right? And if at any time, right, today, next week, 3 weeks from now, whatever, we're doing a practice that just isn't speaking to you, right? You had a weird day yesterday, or maybe you're a little sore from something you did the day before. Turn the video off and find one that's a little bit more chill. Or on the reverse, of course, right? So today we're not going to necessarily chill, but if you needed a ton of sun salutes or a bunch of back bends or something like that, maybe today is a day that you turn it off and find something else. And that's just to honor what your body needs from you, right? So your practice every time will have a little bit of that, right? Like you're going along and then the instructor is telling you to do something and your body goes, no, you know what, I need this. So you do that instead, but the rest of the practice is fine and it fits perfectly with where you're at that day, right? And some days not. So, just respect that. Respect that, whatever it is, whether you need something more or less, if you can manage to sort of just wiggle it in or not, right? So today we are going to be a little bit more chilled and forward folding than I was initially planning. But we respond to what's going on at that moment. So here we are. So let's go ahead and slide over to the mat. Let's say parkour. Anyway. So aligning the heels to the groin, find your foundation. Right? And as we're folding more in these poses today, the foundation is the thing. Right? So grounding into the pelvis, in your mind anyway, right? It might not make a perfect triangle and it may not touch the floor with the same weight. Right? The body is this triangle, right? Can you see it? The legs and the seat. So in your mind anyway, you've got this perfectly balanced triangle of your foundation. Engage your lower belly, lifting the pelvic floor, lower belly in and up. We grow through the sides, through the spine, up the crown of the head. But then sink back down into your shoulders. Right? So we're sinking into the foundation, relaxing into the shoulders, but growing tall through the spine. Closing your eyes, making sure your head is in line, right? Not leaning forward, not looking up, maybe off to one side or the other, right? Find that center. And then just be here for a moment. Moving inward. Paying attention to what your body needs from you. Coming to your breath. then gently expanding into it. Finding that just beyond comfortable place for the breath. Maintaining what we've established here. So the foundation, the length of the spine, these big, beautiful breaths, this inward focus. Let's extend the arms out to the sides. With the inhale, stretch them up. And then exhale, take them back down. Do it again like that. We'll go once more. And back to the top. Exhaling just the right hand back to the mat. Give yourself a little tip to that side. Keep your foundation. Keep that length in the spine, opening up the left side of the body. Inhale as you bring yourself back up to the middle. And then switch sides, taking it over to the left. Big breath. And then back to the top. And over to the right again. Once more on each side like that. Maybe finding a deeper stretch. Coming back to center. And then last time, take it to the left. Coming back up to the top again. And then exhaling the arms back to the sides. Let's bring the hands to the knees. Still with the breath here. Inhale, pull your shoulders together on your back. Lift your chest. And then we're going to exhale and round back. Tuck your chin. And then flow like that, in and out. Moving as equally up and down the spine as you can. Getting into those tighter spots. Take one more float. And then find the middle. So back to that neutral position, that's a nice long spine here. We'll bring the right hand to the left knee and just give yourself a gentle little twist over to the left here. Notice if you've shifted your foundation, find that again. Keeping the spine really long. A lot of times we lean one way or another. See if you can stay really centered with the upper body. Let's release that, coming back through the center, taking the second side. Same idea, just nice and easy. And then let's come back through the center. Take that left side again, working a little bit deeper. So using the arms more, really press into that left arm and pull with the right. Think rotating around nice and evenly up your spine. So the belly button, side ribs, shoulder, face, maybe even. And notice if you're leaning or if the crown of your head is reaching straight up toward the ceiling. And then let's unwind that, coming back through the center over to our second side with that deeper twist. So take your time as you build your pose. And remember, sometimes you can tweak it a little bit here or there. Right? And then we're going to release that back to the middle again. From here, come around onto hands and knees. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Fingers spread nice and wide, even on the four corners of the hands. We're not going to go crazy with this sort of thing, but if you need to give yourself some TLC, your knees or wrists, do. So make sure your belly is still engaged here, finding neutral spine. Let's extend the right leg straight back. We're going to press through that heel nice and firm. Notice if your toes are rotating toward the floor, they're kind of kicked out to the side, point them straight to the floor. And then we're going to extend the left arm alongside the ear, stretching in opposite directions. Big full breaths. And then let's release it down. And we'll do the exact same thing on the second side. So extend the left leg. Make that leg active. Check in that your toes are pointing down. And when you're ready, extend the right arm. Let's release it. And go back to the first side. We're going to add in some movement this time. So extending the right leg and the left arm. With an exhale here, we're going to pull the elbow and knee together in the middle. Give it a good squeeze. And then inhale, extend away. So with the breath, let's go once more like that. Squeeze it in as tight as you can get. Stretch out long. And release back down. Second side, same idea. Left leg. When you're ready, the right arm. Take your time, moving intentionally with your breath. Squeeze in and reach away. One more. And then make your way back into that all fours again. One last time here. Let's extend that right leg. This time bending at the knee. We're taking the left hand around, finding the foot back there, maybe. Putting the toes toward the ceiling and the knees at the floor. Knee at the floor. So you can kick the foot into the hand, get a little extra stretch in the shoulder. You can take your toes a little higher, giving a little bit of a back bend, stretching that right quad. And then we're going to release it. Stretch out long again. And come on down. Second side. Left leg. Bending at the knee. And when you're ready, the right hand finds the foot. So you work where the challenge is, and maybe finding the foot, maybe it's the balance, maybe it's the stretch. Make it yours. Let's gently release. Come on back down to all fours, and then gently back into a child's pose. So stretching the arms out long in front. Spreading those fingers nice and wide again. Round into the four corners. Let's make our way up into our first down dog here. And just allow yourself to wiggle into it. And then we'll begin to settle in then. So we want to press the heels down even if they don't touch the floor. Pressing the heels away. Pressing the chest back toward the thighs. If the legs can't be straight, they're not. Head in line with the arm bones here. You don't want to sink too low, bringing yourself out of alignment that way either. We're going to lift the right leg. Pressing through the heels, just like we did in all fours there. Open the hip this time. So now the toes point out to the side, or maybe kind of to the ceiling. Bending at the knee, keeping the shoulders square as much as we can. Let's release that side, coming back into your down dog. And then we'll switch. So lift the left leg, keeping the hips square for a moment, and then opening that left hip. Taking the toes higher, bending at the knee. And then releasing it. From our down dog, let's walk the feet forward into a standing fold. Toes to the fingers. We're going to bring those feet hip bone distance apart. And then walk in place a little bit. Coming to a center here. Go ahead and bend both knees if you need. Index and middle fingers, we're going to wrap around the big toes. Four corners of the feet still on the floor. Taking the legs straighter. Bending the elbows out to the sides. And if you still need a little extra sensation, if that's not enough, you pull on the toes a little bit to drag the belly toward the thighs. Let's release the toes. Bend the knees a little here if you like. We're going to take the index, the fingers, interlacing them behind the lower back here. Pull your shoulders together on your back and stretch the knuckles away. So the legs can have a bend or not. We want to keep a baby bend in the elbows so we don't just flip them over and hyperextend here. Pulling the shoulder blades closer together. Stretch the knuckles away from the shoulders so the shoulders move away from the ears. Take one more breath. And then release the arms. Legs straight, so the hands are going to slide up to the thighs. Doesn't matter if you can't touch your toes. So we're going to come into this half fold kind of place. Upper body is parallel edge to the floor. The belly's in, shoulders are back. The spine is nice and neutral here. Keeping this 90-degree bend that we have in the hip, roughly anyway, we're going to sit back into a chair. So check in that your feet are still even on the mat. Spine is neutral, shoulders are back, right? Hang on if you need to, of course. Otherwise, maybe the arms, hands to center, or the arms extended alongside the ears. Let's take another big breath. Inhale as we stretch to the ceiling, and then exhale and release. All right. So let's go ahead and take a nice big step back with the left foot. We're going to straddle. So for now, the toes are going to stay pointing forward. Okay? Bringing the hands to the hips. If you need to support with your hands on your thighs, feel free to do that. We're keeping the elbows back so the chest stays open. As we come halfway, right, so roughly parallel to the floor, keeping the hands where they are. See if you can bring yourself into a deeper fold, whatever that looks like. And then let's take the hands to the mat. So bent knees if they need to be, right? Taking the hands flat to the floor, shoulder width apart like we always do, right? And then sliding the tips of the fingers back so they line up with the tips of the toes. They're still shoulder width apart. We don't reach out to the feet, right where they belong. And then your mind, anyway, put the crown of your head on the floor between your hands. Not right now, not for real. Most of us can't do that, especially this early. So just in your brain, put that in your brain. And it may never be your reality. Don't worry about it. So again, here, bending the knees if you need. We're taking the index and middle fingers, wrapping them back around the big toes again, just like we did with our feet together. Elbows out. And then again, that little pull on the toes if you still need more sensation. Releasing the big toes, just like before, interlacing the fingers behind the lower back. Shoulders pull toward each other, knuckles stretch away. Keeping that little bend in the elbows, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Let's release the arms. And here, instead of having the toes point forward, go ahead and turn them out to the corners just a little bit. Right? You may need to open your feet a little wider. You may need to adjust which way your toes are pointing. Right? So with your breath here, on an exhale, bend into the right knee. Inhale, come on back to the middle, and then exhale over to the left. So like that, side to side. And as we bend the knee, we want to make sure that the knee and toes are pointing in the same direction and the knee doesn't come forward of the toes, right? Protecting that knee joint. So if you need to adjust where your feet are, that's where we make the adjustments. And you can lean on your hands as much or as little as you'd like. Connecting the movement to the breath. Notice if you can move deeper or you need to make adjustments as we're warming the body up. Let's go once more on each side like that. And then make your way back to the middle, turning the toes back forward. We're going to take the hands back up to the hips, supporting on the thighs, of course, if that's where you need to be. And then come halfway up. Hold in the middle, squeeze those hamstrings, use your belly. All the way up on your inhale. From here, turn your left toes in just a little, and the right toes toward the top of the mat. We're going to bend into the knee, again, stacking the knee over the ankle, so adjust your right foot as much as you need. Pressing down into the floor, let's extend the arms, warrior two. Strong and steady here. Let's take that right leg straight. Reach forward of your toes and come over into triangles. So the right hand falls to where it falls, whether it's at your shin, you've got a block, maybe up on your thigh even. Sometimes that's where we are. So the hips are open, shoulders are squared to the side. You can turn and look up at the left hand if you want. And from here, we're going to release it over into lunge. So you've got lots of options here. You can keep this wide lunge. You can drop the left knee to the floor. You can hop the back foot in a little bit if that's where you want to be. Prop if you need to prop. We're going to take the right leg straight or straighter. Keeping the shoulders together on the back. Right? So the spine is in this neutral position. Hips are square, pressing through the right hip. Push it back. Pulling the right hip forward a little bit if that, left hip forward a little bit if that makes sense for your brain. And then making sure you feel stable here, because we're going to twist. Right? So from here, bring the right hand to the hip, and we're going to revolve around. Again, if you need to change your stance, making it shorter, dropping the left knee, listen to your body. And then releasing it, step back into down dog. Let's slide forward into a plank. Dropping down to the knees. Keeping the spine in this nice alignment, so not hanging in the pelvis there. Bringing the right foot over to the right side of the mat. We're going to open the body to the left again here. So modified side plank. You can take a full side plank. You can add the fancy stuff in if you'd like. And then release back into plank. Bending the elbows tight to the sides. Let's drop to the belly. Take a little baby cobra. Can't be all folding, right? And then release. Make your way up and back to down dog. And we're going to step the right foot forward again. So same side. Walk the hands around to the center of your straddle again. Take a moment here. See if you can find a little bit of rest, right? Your toes point forward. Let your upper body hang. Maybe grab opposite elbow. And then bringing the hands back up to the hips or thighs. Come up into that half fold. Fold for a second. And then all the way up. So taking our standing poses to our second side. Turn your right toes in a little bit if you need. Turn the left foot toward the back of your mat or top of your mat now, right? And then bending into the knee. Check for your knee ankle alignment. Extending the arms. We'll go ahead and take the left leg straight. Reach forward of the toes and hinge over. Lean if you need to lean. Prop if you'd like to prop. Keeping the body open to the side. And then release it over into the lunge. And again here, adjust the feet. Drop the back knee, take a shorter stance, whatever you need here. When you're ready for it, take that left leg straight. Square your hips. Lengthen your spine. Find that neutral spine. And then making sure you feel stable, we're going to add in the twist here. So the left hand comes to the hip and we rotate the spine around. Remember, it's not necessarily about this big giant twist. We'll release it here. Stepping back for your down dog. Sliding forward into plank. And dropping to the knees. Or not if you want full plank, of course. We're going to take the left foot over to the left side. Open the body to the right here for your side plank. And again, you decide what little bells and whistles to add or not. Remember the four corners of your left hand. Keeping your wrist happy. And your shoulders sometimes here, right? And then we're going to release that. Come back to plank or kneeling plank. Bend the elbows tight as we drop to the belly. Roll into that cobra. Make it bigger if you're ready. And then keeping the elbows in, up and back for your down dog. And we're going to step that left foot forward again. Taking the hands, walking back into the straddle. Here, we're going to take the hands and walk them forward. So coming up on the toes, let the hips come down and let them come down lower than you would for a plank. Walk them back in. And then walk them forward again. So you can go a little quicker or a little slower, you decide. Taking it back. One more time, walk forward. And then back. This time here, turn your fingers to point behind you. And start to walk them back. So if you're just happy to have your fingers on the floor with your legs straight, maybe just turning your hands around is a big deal, or getting the hands between the feet. Find where it is. Where's the edge? Once you get there, pull against the floor, bending at the elbows. And now imagine that place on your mat between your feet, between where you had your hands earlier. Is your head closer to that? Let's release it. We're walking the hands back in. Walk the hands around toward the right foot. And step back to down dog. Go ahead and drop down to the knees. Then bring yourself into child's pose. And remember to modify child's pose to make it right for you. So maybe right now you want your hands by your feet. Maybe you want to stack your hands, resting your head, using a block, not bringing the knees into such deep yeah, you know. My brain went dark. So we've got one more. We're going to balance. So let's come to down dog. And then we'll walk the feet forward to the hands, standing fold. Thinking about when we were on hands and knees and how we have the hips square and the lifted leg parallel to the floor, we're going to shoot for that again. Right? So let's take all of the weight over into the left foot and prop here if you want to prop. Right? Taking the right leg straight back. So the foot is flexed and the toes are pointing at the floor. The heel is in line with the hip, not kicked out to the side. And ideally the left leg is straight, but if it can't be, it can't, right? Press through that, both heels, and the hands can stay on the floor if they need. Otherwise, maybe one hand up to the thigh, lifting the chest a little bit, maybe both, maybe the arms fly. So listen to your body, make it more or less challenging. And then release it back down. So that same idea to the second side, and recognize that it may or may not feel the same. So listen to what your body needs for here. 4 corners of that right foot, we're sweeping the left leg straight back. Pressing through the heels, deciding if maybe one, none, or both hands can come up to the thigh, lifting the chest parallel to the floor as well, and then doing what you will here with your arms. Release it all over into the fold again. Let yourself hang here for a moment, maybe a little bend in the knees, grabbing opposite elbows, letting your head hang. And let's go ahead and step it back to down dog. Dropping back into that child pose. We're going to sit up on the heels here, and then bring the legs around front. We're going to start. We're going to start off with the soles of the feet together here, pulling the heels in toward the groin. Keeping the 4 corners of the feet together, pull against the ankles to lift your chest. So this might be good. You can use your elbows at your inner thighs here to press down. Try to avoid pressing down on the knee. It doesn't work like you want it to work. So from here, think hinging forward, belly button to heels. Keeping the head in line with the spine so the spine doesn't round. And then let's hinge back up again. Extend the legs. Feet flexed. Make sure you feel upright on your pelvis here. So the spine is tall. We're going to reach up. Hinge forward. And then let your hands fall where they do. So it may or may not be your toes. We want to keep the shoulders back. Think leading with your sternum toward your toes. And just sort of be aware of where your fold is. And then give this a go. Take the hands to the outsides of the calves here, right? We want to press, flex your feet. Flex your feet. Press out through your big toe knuckle and pull your pinky toe side toward your head. And then use your hands here, pressing into the outsides of the calves, but press back out with your legs. Think lifting your kneecaps, pressing your hips down into the floor. Extend out the crown of your head, give yourself some length, and then see if you can sink into that a little bit deeper. Okay. So do that again. Start down at your feet, press the big toe knuckle forward, pinky toe side back. Press in with your hands, press back out with your legs. Pull your knees towards your hips, press your hips toward the floor, extend out through the crown of your head, and then see if you can move in there a little deeper. So give that a go one more time. Start at your toes, moving up with all the pieces, and see where your fold is now. Take another big breath. Nice and gentle here. Release it back up. And let's open the feet into a strap. So wide-ish, right? We've been working those hamstrings for a little bit. Make sure you're still feeling upright on your pelvis, that your toes are flexed and pointing toward the ceiling. That. Reaching up. We're going to rotate the belly button to the right and fold over this right leg. Let the hands fall. So then the trick here is to glue that left hip to the floor. Press harder into the right hand and imagine steering your belly button toward your thigh. Shoulders back, crown of the head out. See where the fold goes. Take another big breath. Inhale as you hinge back up. Reaching the arms, rotate the belly left, and then do the same thing here. Let those hands fall. We want to use the floor anyway. Ground the seat, extend out the crown of the head, using the hands to rotate the belly to the thigh. One more nice big breath. Let's hinge back up. We're going to bring those hands to the center here. Keep the spine really long and then fold into the middle. So same idea. We want to keep the shoulders back. We want to keep the seat rooted. And if you feel like you must reach toward your toes. So maybe you touch the toes and maybe you don't. Reaching out so that the shoulders stay back rather than fall forward. Take a couple nice big breaths. Gently hinge back up, supporting yourself if you need. And we're going to bring the legs back together. Shake them out. And then go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together again. And we're going to be rolling back in a second. So if you need to adjust on your mat, feel free. Soles of the feet together. Pulling against the ankles so that you can sit up nice and tall. Keep that idea and lean back and balance. Allow your spine to C curve and you'll roll on back. Keep the soles of the feet together, but let them come to the floor. And just release your belly and your inner hip here. Bring the knees together. Draw them into the chest and just rock a little. So keeping the knees in toward the chest here, we're going to take the shins vertical, right? So if it makes better sense for you to grab the backs of your thighs and pull down, feel free. Otherwise, maybe the soles of the feet. You can use a strap here as well if you've got a prop. We're going to pull the feet down, keeping the shins vertical, and drawing the knees in toward the armpits. So you might feel your butt roll up a whole bunch here. For right now, you can let that happen. Just sort of see where you are, wiggle around into it a little bit. Maybe you can take your knee to touch the floor. Find a center here. And instead of hanging onto the feet, take your index and middle fingers again and wrap them around your big toes, taking the legs straighter and wider. Don't worry about really straight. Don't worry about really wide. Just let them be where it is. Trying to relax your shoulders back and wiggling around here. So the same idea as when your knees were bent, just moving and seeing if you can work into that a little bit deeper. You can touch your toes to the floor. You can pull them in a little bit and then release them back out. Just kind of play with it. Notice where your pelvis starts to round up, right? If you make them too straight or too wide, your pelvis lifts up off the floor. Try to keep it down. And then finding your center again. Bending back at the knees. Pull them into the armpits, grab your feet, grab your strap, grab the backs of your thighs, whatever. Pull down again. And then keep the arms pulling down. Kick your feet back into your hands. So push and pull. Make it like work. And then go ahead and release those feet to the floor. Release your spine. You can take the soles of the feet together here again if you like, just kind of relaxing for a moment. And then finding your neutral spine, take your feet flat to the floor if they're not already. And extend the arms out into a T position. From here, pick your hips up, move them over to the right edge of your mat, and drop the knees to the left. And just remember there are lots of variations of this final twist. So if you want to just relax here, if you want to take the right leg straight over towards your left hand, right? Or both legs. I mean, we have been working on our hamstrings, right? You can add that. And here, you can relax a little bit more, so maybe the legs don't stay straight. Or you can really work through it, pressing through the right heel, stretching back in the opposite direction with your right hand. Just remember to listen to your body. If you need a bigger stretch, take it. Ready to relax? Do that. We're going to take just a couple more breaths on this side. So if you wanted to add, change. And then we're going to make our way back to center. Switching sides, hips left and knees right. Same idea here. Take a moment. Add one or more or nothing. Taking just a couple more breaths over on this side. And then bringing it back to center again. Finding a neutral spine here. And then gently bringing the knees back in. Give them a little rock. Squeezing the knees tight to the chest and bringing the forehead to the knees. Release that out into a full body stretch. And then release your stretch, bringing your body to Shavasana, wherever it needs to be today. So whether you're fully extended, you're propped, you've got feet up the wall, legs up the wall. You do meditation today if that's better. Find where you need to be. And then let go. Releasing the muscles. Releasing your breath. Releasing any random thought that comes in to distract you from this place. Just allowing yourself to rest for a few minutes. begin to gently draw each breath a little deeper than the last. You begin to restore small movements of the body, wiggling and stretching. When you're ready, taking the feet flat to the floor. Slowly rolling yourself off to the side, maybe pausing in that fetal position. Pressing the arms into the floor to make your way back up to seated. Keeping the eyes closed and the mind quiet. Sitting well. Bringing the palms to touch. Bowing your head to your heart. Namaste. So hopefully that practice was good for you. Be sure to like and share and all of that crazy stuff. Facebook yells at me if I'm getting less engagement. you know. So have a great week, no matter what your weather is. Enjoy your weekend first, of course. And I will see you here next week. Bye. Thanks, guys. I knew that was Cheryl. Bye, guys. Have a great weekend.